Welcome, I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Boko Haram terrorists killed 5 persons in an overnight attack on Kaya village in Madagali local government area of Adamawa state. President Muhammadu Buhari meets leaders of the All Progressives Congress over burning issues of national interest and the state of the nation. Governors of 7 APC states reject restructuring plan proposed by certain socio-cultural groups and Middle Belt leaders in Benue State. And U.S. Defense Secretary reviews competition between great powers is now the focus of America's national security and not terrorism.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's debt management office plans to raise 385 billion naira through the bond market as it releases issuance calendar for the first quarter.
On sports news, Nigeria's home-based Super Eagles beat Libya 1-0 for their first win at the African Nations Championship in Morocco.
And from Abuja, Lassa fever resurfaces in Nasarawa state. 1 killed and 15 other cases under close monitoring.
We begin tonight with a fresh attack on Kaya village in Madagali local government area of Adamawa state, where at least 5 people were reported killed by suspected Boko Haram insurgents in an early morning raid. 2 houses were burnt and food items carted away by the terrorists. The attack comes a few days after a similar incident in Palam, also in Adamawa state, where Boko Haram militants killed 3 people. The chairman of the Madagali local government area, Yusuf Muhammad, told Channels Television that security officials and local hunters are on the trail of the terrorists. Kaya is 1 kilometer drive from Gulak, the administrative headquarters of Madagali, one of the few frequently attacked towns in the northeastern state of Adamawa by Boko Haram insurgents. Meanwhile, the president has been holding discussions on the state of the nation, and today he met with some key members of his political party, the All Progressives Congress. President Buhari, while talking to his guests, denied allegations that he takes decisions based on ethnic or religious considerations. This is against the backdrop of criticism of bias over his actions or inactions on some burning national issues. The president also gave them the assurance that he would never forget their contributions to his success while he was vying for the presidency.
So please, you are the side group, maybe the 60th person, that I felt I have to invite you. Let us eat together. And I tell you that I'm sitting here very much aware of the problem in this country. And that I will always reflect on the historical antecedents. I decided to drop the uniform, come back, and eventually I am here. So really, I have gone through it over and over again. That's why I'm not in a hurry virtually to do anything. I will sit and reflect and continue to have my clear conscience. I thank you very much for honoring my invitation. And I'm telling you that if I don't ring you or if I don't call you, it's not because for a moment I ever forgot how you supported me at one stage or the other over the years from 2003 to now.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari. And it appears there's a war of words among some state governors and leaders of the Southern and Middle Belt Forum over the call for restructuring. 6 of the governors, who are from states controlled by the All Progressives Congress, describe the call as a relic from the past. The governors, led by Kashim Shettima of Borno State, visited Benue 48 hours after the visit of the joint socio-cultural groups to Governor Samuel Ortom. The delegation, comprising governors of Kaduna, Plateau, Jigawa, Kogi and the Deputy Governor of Osun State, are insisting that they will not allow anyone to politicize the Benue killings.
Amid all the sound and fury surrounding attacks by herdsmen on farmers in Benue State and other parts of the country, Governor Samuel Ortom welcomes a delegation of APC governors led by Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State. His entourage includes Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna, Simon Lalong of Plateau, Jigawa State Governor Badaru Abubakar and Yahya Bello of Kogi State, as well as Titi Lauye Tomori, the Deputy Governor of Osun State. The visitors state their mission.
Your Excellency, we know exactly what you feel, and we share your pain. We know and share the agonies of those who have lost loved ones and those who have sustained injuries. We know and share the pains of those who have been internally displaced and those who have lost valuables. We commiserate with the government and the entire people of Benue State.
For the Benue State Governor, the specter of more bloodshed still hovers over his people as he reminds the leaders of the consequences of ignoring threats by the leadership of Miyetti Allah Kautal Hore.
They have given us a new dimension in this whole crisis by saying that Benue value belongs to them. And they are not just here to grace, but they are here to take over the land. And when people make such inflammatory statements and they are allowed to go scot-free, it becomes a very big challenge. This, we have gotten the press releases that were given, and we are going to transmit this to the presidency and to security agencies to take action.
Referring to the previous visit by the leadership of the Southern and Middle Belt socio-cultural groups, Governor Shetima takes a swipe at them for allegedly attempting to score cheap political points.
The APC won in Benue, not because of Buhari, but in spite of Buhari. And people are trying to make a political capital out of the crisis in Benue, and we will not allow that to happen.
But that position is met with a vehement objection that reflects the feeling of Benue stakeholders, lambasting him for diverting attention from the real issue.
Their visit here for me is to come and campaign again, to say that, oh, we are the party, the ruling party. The other one is what? But for God's sake, the man who came yesterday led a delegation that felt the pain of Benue State. He spoke, and you know that this man felt our pain.
Apparently, what the visiting governors have to say may not be what the people want to hear. But whether or not that's the case, what remains important is that the leaders must come up with a permanent solution to the killings, and very fast too.
Meanwhile, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, believes the decision of the National Economic Council to set up a committee to address the clashes between farmers and herdsmen across the country may not be necessary at this time. Mr. Falana explains that instead of setting up a committee, the federal government should revive all ranches across the country and embrace modern ways of rearing cattle. He was speaking on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
A committee to do what? To find out how many people have been killed, to find out or to establish the fact that we have been in this problem for 5 years running and nobody is addressing the problems. This government knew this problem before it came on board. It was part of the campaign. And this government, upon its inauguration, has repeatedly maintained, and quite correctly, that the only solution to the incessant violent clashes between farmers and herdsmen is to establish ranches in the country. When you ask Chief Adogbe, what do you mean by cattle colony? It's to confuse Nigerians. According to him, a cattle colony will mean a group of ranches. Why are you using colony? As if you are giving the impression in a tense atmosphere that you want to colonize certain parts of the country. It's so nonsensical. Government has to take Nigerians seriously. In 1951, we had the first ranch in Nigeria, in Calabar, Obudu, cattle ranch. Now it's been converted to Obudu, holiday resort. The late Amadou Bello regime in the north established the Mokwa Ranch. The Obafemi Awolowo regime in the west, in the 50s, established Akunu Ranch. In Botswana, a country of 2.2 million people, with a cattle population of over 3 million. That is the most successful country in Africa in terms of establishing ranches. In Botswana, every cow has a tracker. Nigerians are simply not going to vote for people who are going to make promises. You must look at their pedigree. You must examine their commitment to addressing the problems confronting the country.
The Defense Headquarters is not ready to have any talks with the Niger Delta Avengers over recent threats by the groups to resume bombing of oil installations. The Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General John Agim, explains that the military will only carry out an action on the orders of the government. He says the military will require the help of Nigerians, especially in the area of intelligence, to adequately tackle the many security challenges confronting the nation. Our correspondent Amaka Ukafo reports.
There's been a change of guard at the Defense Headquarters Directorate of Information as Brigadier General John Agim takes over from Major General John Enenche. The new leadership has convened this meeting with journalists.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press.
Away from the pleasantries, the new spokesman for the military fielded questions from the journalists. Among the questions is the recent threat by the Niger Delta Avengers to blow up oil installations.
Concerning the issue of Avengers, I said that except instruction comes from our political masters, we don't have anything to do about the threats of Avengers. Except there's an instruction that comes from them. And if there is anything that they can solve at that level, there may not be any need for any instruction to come to the military.
He also gave his view on how the herders' farmers' clashes and other security challenges can be tackled.
You cannot be everywhere. You have to assist the military, even if they are deployed in a place. You assist the security agency when they are deployed in a place and give them valuable information so that they can work and make sure that the place is kept safe. That is the only way that we can sustain the peace that we are having.
Besides expecting Nigerians to provide information to the military to assist in the war against terror, it is also important that the military gives more updates to the media and indeed Nigerians on the war against insurgency and other crimes. Amaka Okafo, Channels Television News.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, has inaugurated the National Sanctions Committee 5 years after it was set up. The committee is to be chaired by the Justice Minister, and other members include the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the National Security Advisor and the Director General of the DSS. The IGP, the CBN Governor, the Chief of Army Staff, the DG of the National Intelligence Agency, as well as the DG of the Nigeria Finance Intelligence Unit will also serve on the committee. Its mandate is to trace and freeze financial flows of terrorist funds. The Vice President reiterated the government's commitment to eliminate terrorism in the country. Now, the trial of suspected kidnap kingpin Chukwudumeme Onwamadike, also known as Evans, and 5 others for murder, attempted murder and kidnapping continued today at the Ikeja High Court. The prosecution witness, Anselm Dunu, who is the elder brother of one of the victims, Ignatius Dunu, admitted to receiving phone calls from strange voices but could not tell who was on the phone because the audio was muffled. While giving testimony before Justice Hakim Oshodi, he admitted that he did not dispose of the ransom himself and so he did not know who received the money. Mr. Dunu told the court that he met Evans for the first time at the IGP's office in June. Justice Oshodi then adjourned hearing to the 2nd of March for continuation of trial and ruling on the bail application brought by the 6th defendant, Victor Aduba.